quite sure whether it's proper smoke, if you see what I mean, whether smoke there's fire, or whether that was just some of the heat exchangers. The door came open because it is very, very cold here this evening, I've got to tell you. There you are. That is starting to look more and more like smoke right now.
Yeah, I think he's got an electrical problem.
Yeah.
I think that's where it starts and finishes, and I think it's inside the car, and if I was him, I think I'd step out.
Me too, and I think the guy's refueling is probably not a great idea. There you go, straight into the garage. And, well, there you are. I think we've got our answer.
Yeah.
Out, they wanted him. I don't know whether he actually did manage to get out of the vehicle at that point, but it's certainly now back. So McNeil, yes, he is clear of it. They wanted him clear, and the back cowl coming off, and this does not look great. They've not had the best of fortunes, Damien.
No, no, not having a clean run at all, actually, and neither, I believe, any of the Corvettes. Yeah, you know, the WeatherTech car here it's in a bit of trouble, isn't it?
It's odd, isn't it? The Corvettes were bulletproof for years. Nothing happened. They went in that lovely flat V8 note, and everything was fine. This year, oh dear.
Well, you know what, they came here and we've been asking them the question, what's wrong with the car, and they've constantly come back and said, we don't know. We have brought the same vehicle, we know this vehicle, it runs very well. Clearly everyone else has taken an extra step forward, Damien.
Yeah, it's crazy, you know, like we spoke about it earlier in the broadcast, but you know, they were expecting to make it better, and they had some ideas, according to Oliver Gavin the other day. Those ideas he wanted to keep to himself, but he said the team had some beliefs, and they were trying to make it better, and Doug Feehan had said that there was smoke coming out of the computers trying to make these cars better. Well, there's smoke coming out of the back of that car now, so obviously that's not one of the works cars. But
you know, the Rebellion cars have gone extraordinarily well now.
They have. Turning back again to the leading battle, which I'm sure that you're all aware of is happening with the Christensen car. It is Tom at the wheel of that at the moment, turning in laps in 3:28. The scrap behind, really, I mean, we've got Anthony Davidson turning in 3:33s. We've got Pierre to 3:31s, and then De Grassi 3:31s. That really is a dogfight. It's, you know, there's nobody really giving an inch. There's a couple of seconds here and there, but they are really obviously hard at it. Now, we saw earlier on today that if it was damp, it seemed to favour the Toyotas.
Well, we found out why. Yes, because we had the Michelin the head guy, or I'm not sure who he was actually, in here on the booth earlier today, and they have it wasn't the intermediate tire, but they have two slick tires available. One operates better at higher temperatures, the other at lower temperatures, ambient temperatures, I think, at track temperatures. And Toyota chose the sort of, if you like, the more nighttime version.
Yeah.
And Audi stuck with
because it was cold, it was running warm enough, and it was wearing well enough to actually do a proper stint on it.
And that was the ace car that Toyota had at the very beginning of the race, which was, you know, I mean, they were phenomenal at the start of the race.
Really showed, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. It was.
We all thought it was going to be a different race, didn't we, from then?
Well, it still is a different race, because let's face it, we know we've seen a 3:23 was the lap, well, number 86 from Christensen. They've not got down to that, but they can get down into the 3:25s, 24s.
Yeah, I think there's just been, you know, if someone of those front leaders, even the Toyotas, I'm sure, can do a fabulous lap time, even in the night time. But I think they're just being extra careful, obviously going through the traffic, and especially going through you know, the third sector with the Porsche curbs.
The lead is coming in. It's Tom Christensen onto pit road right now.
Yeah, I think it's an ordinary scheduled stop.
Yep, he's taken 15 pit stops so far, compared to Anthony Davidson's 8 car of 13 and just 12 for Lapierre. They're staying at hand here, but it is a 2-lap advantage as he comes in.
We've got a yellow flag somewhere, incidentally. It doesn't tell me where, but it just says there is one.
Car 81 is in the gravel.
R81, now it does.
Marshall point 76, and there it is.
Burgermeister. Porsche.
Yep.
Oh.
and at speed by the looks of things.
And yeah, he really has, hasn't he? He's, well, it's...
No, it's the 8-star.
8-star Ferrari and Portolicci on board. Excuse me. So the two cars stopping. We were saying, Neville, a little bit earlier on that experience counts for an awful lot here.
Yeah.
I know fortune as well favours the brave, and all that. But to be honest, these guys in this car may be long of tooth as far as racing is concerned, but they've got a huge amount of success, and they know every single inch of this circuit.
Yes, that's an interesting one. I was talking to, I'm not going to say who, I think it's safer to. I've driven around here in more races than you can think of, but you know, it's different every year. Pardon, I said. No, it's different every year because always they've patched something, or the trucks have just caught, and you think you know, but you don't, and that's why people have been going off during the course of practice. That's why it's so slippery. There have been a lot of little bits and pieces of roadwork done, and that's one of the reasons why it has been a very slippery circuit.
And of course, you know, it's so long, and half of the circuit is used every day, and half of it's used once a year, and you've got white lines in the middle of the road and all sorts of things. So yeah, and even if they paint the curbs with a different paint manufacturer, it's going to be different. So
it has been sort of noted that there's been an awful lot of change this year particularly, and I think that's the reason why.
Talking about changes, a nice and swift one. I think this might be Stuart Hall going in. We will find out in just a few moments' time. Jamie Campbell-Walter, and
Stuart Hall, you're right.
Yeah, there he goes. Stewie, he's getting a decent drive this year. Was very much hobbled last year and found himself in the commentary position here with us at a very early stage. And yeah, thankfully he's had a much cleaner run this time by. Well, personally speaking, I'm hoping he goes even better. He's got some ground to make up, unfortunately, and running in sixth place right now. Not as high as they'd hoped, Damien.
No, I think we saw that car off in the gravel earlier. I think it might have been Jamie Campbell-Walter.
It was, I believe, yeah.
Just getting back to knowing every inch of the track, he got out to the edge of the gravel. There's about a car's width. Actually, he got it. He came down the grass and he sort of tagged the barrier, and then he drove it right around the perimeter of the gravel. There's just a car's width there, and I mean, that's someone who obviously knows that that's there. You know, the less experienced driver may want to fly as the crow flies back to the track and try and go through the gravel. But there is, and you know, more often than not at many of these circuits, there is that sort of lane. And I think that's what it's designed for. If someone actually makes it through, that they can actually just drive right around the outside between the barrier and the gravel.
But riding roughshod is no great shakes for the car, and shaking down the order it certainly was. Well, Stewie Hall is on board and on his outlap right now. It's a great mix actually amongst the GT class. I'd like it to be mixed a bit more. The Vipers really haven't performed as they should, and in fact they're almost the last of the pro cars.
Yes, we were saying earlier on that it just hasn't somehow been the year for Vipers this year. They've just had a pretty awful time of it.
Well, they've certainly got the size of engine. They've got the capacity to do something special. The SRT street racing project is still underway. Let's have a listen.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just sort of
hooking in.
We don't know when we're going to hear a pit report of driver. And then suddenly you just stop because you think
it can be a snippet, and that was SRT Street Racing Technologies, of course, the new brand for the Viper. Frankly, I don't know why they moved away from Dodge or Chrysler, but they're creating a whole new division within GM, and that is where it comes.
You know,
even in the first quarters, I can't see the track because of the vibration.
There we are.
I think it's the tyres. It doesn't look like bouncing from the inerter not working.
Now we have managed to follow that.
Are you okay for 3 laps, or do you want some pits?
I'm okay, but I hope the vibration is okay too.
Gosh, you can actually hear the vibration coming through his voice there, presumably transmitting through the steering column and shaking him all over the place. Not comfortable. Asked by the engineer whether he'd like to come in, said, can you do 3 more laps, they say. He's currently back up to 12th place after languishing in 23rd, I think the one car went down to after a big unscheduled long stop earlier on.
And they think it's a tyre. Or tyres.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe just a flat spot. But we say just a flat spot, Damien. You know all about that.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a flat spot will certainly do it, but it could be pickup from just running offline. It's very easily to pick up the marbles, and they're very hard to shake off again. So, and they can cause a big imbalance on the wheel. Obviously, when they're going, you know, the tremendous speed down the Mulsanne.
The chances of me mentioning this name are getting less and less as time goes by. But in 1959, the leading Aston Martin came in, and the driver said, "This isn't right. It's a terrible vibration." This went on. It crawled round. And there was a terrible row in the pit. And actually what it was that a piece had come off the inside of the tyre. And whereas he thought he'd got a problem with the rear end breaking up, it was actually tyres. They put new tyres on. Car was fine. I think he's lost 2 laps by now. They did eventually win, but it was a very close call.
There we are.
They're very important tyres.
What was the biggest margin of victory here?
Oh, well, I can tell you that...
Do you want to have a think?
The C-Type Jaguar won by about 70 miles in 1951, if that helps you.
Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah, we've had some very close calls as well. We'll be taking a break in just a few moments' time. I'm having a little bit of difficulty at the moment getting onto Twitter, but Damien Faulkner is well clued up. Yeah, maybe that should be your destination. He's racked with
Carlton. I just
pleasure at the moment.
Honestly, I've been inundated with Twitter messages here to say hello to so many people. So hello to you all. Yeah, I just can't say hello individually.
A question is probably better than "Can you give me a shout out?" Because so many people actually say that. Unless you're 4 at this time of night, it's not going to happen. We're going to take ourselves a commercial break. Somebody asking what the light pods are on the side, the little lights. It tells you your position. If you see 1, it's first. If you see 2, it's second. If you see 3, it's third. There was some argument at the beginning when they were thinking of putting these light boards on, a bit like Michelin stars. I think the French perhaps would have liked 3 for the leader, 2 for second. But it was far too confusing. So they decided, look, we'll go 1, 2 and 3 and leave it like that. So not Michelin stars, but position on the track. There you go. Reading the barcode. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back. Occasionally you just get a dip into conversation and you clearly know that you're not supposed to hear it. And just a few moments ago, we heard one of the pit crew saying, clean the car, what's the point? Clearly, well, maybe there's just a lack of insect life and it looked pretty clean to him anyway, and he just fancied a bit of a break. What do you think?
My screen is so dirty. I must have followed a car with loads of oil. I just can't see.
There you are, and there's the absolute opposite.
Copy, 26.8 gap. Do you want to tear off at the stop? No, just clean.
There you go. They are limited by the number of tear-offs. I think it's 5. Yeah. And yes, they're asking him if he wants a tear-off, which is an instant clean, and he says no, I'd rather keep that as an option for later, despite his problems. Fluid from another vehicle, he thinks.
Yeah, that's quite often the case, because some of them are overfilled particularly some of the gearboxes, and it's the overflow, and then it sort of just splashes and it atomizes and just.
If you listen carefully, just listen to the sound, the engine note, because the Toyota we can hear, and he is pushing.
I'm not sure that the sound and our feed is synchronized, because if it is, he's getting on the power scarily early coming out of the turns.
Yeah, it may well be there's a bit of a gap, a delay, one way or the other, audio in front of pictures.
It is the answer now. He's a bit fierce.
I don't know, you know. He really is on it.
He is fierce, isn't he?
3 car comes to a halt.
Yep.
On his marks, De Grazzi.
Full service. Driver change as well here.
Stuart Hall update. Oh, hang on. Stuart Hall's got a problem, or unless that last time is his outlap, 5 minutes 30 doesn't look great.
Doesn't look good at all, does it?
No, it does not. And I've got to tell you, that is that's about third quickest running. In fact, he's the fastest man in class at the moment. Pro-Ams.
Yeah, Stuart Hall, the son of Pete Hall, who was a strong supporter of Andy Rouse in the British Touring Car Championship. For those of you who like to think back that far, Andy, a very hot shoe at that time, and no mean driver himself. And Stuart really does love his racing. Yeah, exactly. I saw father and son actually. We were almost star jumping it out of Audi hospitality, trying to catch Stuart's attention, just to give him a wave. Really, he was talking to his dad. His dad was kind of looking past him, thinking, "Who are those nutcases?"
And an autograph.
Yeah, thankfully he introduced us a bit later on, and yes, order was restored. Thank goodness. 61 car taking its time. It's last little wave away and off and underway right now, running 4th in class. Do you know what? It's kind of order as you were. Porsches and Ferraris at the top of the list for GT.
Yeah, that battle has been ongoing for a good few hours now. It just looks like Aston and Porsche there all the way. So,
well, sorry, Ferrari and Porsche in the amateurs.
I'm sorry, you're talking about the AMs.
Yeah, I was the GT-AMs.
I just couldn't wait to get back to the pros here. Sorry.
Get back to the pros, why don't you? Bell and Turner 1 and 3 at the moment in the 99 and 97 car. Mark Lieb with the Porsche still very much involved.
I'm watching Andre Lotterer because he was complaining that he's got a problem, I recall, but all seems well because he's still lapping in 334s. He was complaining about a tyre problem, was it not?
It was his teammate, I think.
His teammate.
Yeah, well, it was Marcel Fasler that was complaining about the vibration.
God, it's wonderful to be wrong again.
Welcome to my world.
Into the darkness then. We were talking earlier on to Liz Halliday about the tunnelling effect of driving at night. A lot of drivers actually really like it. I know that some are quite averse to it. I know a number of gentlemen drivers here, although they've qualified for night driving here at Le Mans, have decided to take their stints in the daytime and in the drive.
That's
very much
normal.
so.
That's normal. I have to tell you, because you're a young man, that your night vision does not get better as you get older. I used to be, he says, quite good in the dark. I'm not now.
Steady on. We'll be giving you
now we're getting on a different subject, aren't we?
We're digressing.
Yes, Damien. Yeah, well, was it something you rather liked or not?
No, absolutely, I do, and I think part of the I think there's advantages as well, because it narrows your. Is that what you said? Narrows your focus? Because
yes, exactly.
What you want to do in a racing car is you don't want to have too much peripheral vision on the side. So I tend to use, lots of people use brake markers like 100-meter boards or 200-meter boards as braking markers. I never use that. I always use something in front of me. so that my vision is always on the track. Because, you know, I just use brake marks, and, you know, typically there'll be little track undulations and you'll see black rubber marks, and that's what I use. So it helps you, I think it helps you channel your vision, and I think it's all about vision, really.
Track undulations in braking points, it's a bit like carpet, can rock just a little bit once they've laid tarmac, because it remains fluid at temperature.
Yeah, that's actually, yeah, that's well articulated.
Toyota in. Looks like a scheduled stop for him. Headlights being cleaned, but I don't think they're changing tyres this time.
The Michelin signs on those tyres are like new.
Yeah, it was quite fascinating to know that they actually, rather like going in your, it's whatever place you go to have your goods sort of checked, they can check the tyres just the same way as they tick on the checkout when you go out to a big store. I'm quite fascinated by that. I didn't know that.
I think it's actually just for their own records, to be honest. Each one has got an individual barcode, and then
it tells you what sort of tyre it is, because you can't see just looking at it.
But likewise, if there's any kind of product failure, they know exactly which one it is, and what sort of stresses it's been put under, I guess. Lapierre there, just on his outlap. Anthony Davidson is involved. It's gone red, Lapierre, the 7 car. Let's have a look. No danger so far. I think that might just be a graphical error. I'm kind of hoping so.
Well, he just came out behind his teammate there in the number 8 car. So we're assuming he's behind.
Yeah, they've now swapped.
They have just swapped position.
Oh, yeah, they've now swapped position.
Well, we're still waiting to see.
Because the Ant was getting in. We know that he was trying very, very hard a lap or two ago, and he's just had a pit stop as well. I think they stopped on consecutive laps.
Well, we'll see. Let's hope we don't have any nasty surprises. If you're only just joining us and you're wondering why we're not having any long shots or indeed aerial shots, we don't have those cameras operating at night, but there's plenty of onboards, and of course the pit lane is still very much active. So it makes for great running. We may, in a moment, just have a bit of actuality where we'll switch our mics off and let you enjoy it. And you can boost the sound. Tell you what, we'll give you 20 seconds. See how that goes. And in a few moments' time, you understand. Yeah. And that way, you can turn it. You'll know when to turn it back down again, so we don't blast your ears off when we start talking again.
It was quite fascinating, and it is quite fascinating in the daylight, but I equally find it very fascinating at night using the onboards, because in a way, it's like watching it from a totally different angle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. Onboard cameras, incidentally, were huge in the early days. In fact, the first racing onboard cameras were almost as big as a desk. You know, those very, very large TV cameras. And they were in the Bathurst, was the first use of them.
You forget what we used to do for a living.
Yes, I know. But do you also know the first pan shot was on the Bathurst? I'll tell you about that in a moment.
Yeah, I was there.
Were you?
Yeah.
Well, the camera was on board. Let me tell me if you were involved in this. And it was on a ratchet system, like a spring.
Yeah.
You pull the camera back, and you would fire it remotely as they overtook somebody, and it would just pan round. You could get one pan shot, but the weight of the camera as it swung would actually destabilize the car.
They weren't as big as that for very long. We did actually have a very close association with Channel 7 at one time, and I think it's fair to say that we brought in modern in-car technology to a large degree, and this would be in the 80s.
Yeah, it was, of course, amazing stuff.
It was a little bit, you know, as Professor Andretti said, monkey see, monkey do.
Yes. Well, there you are. These days, they're called pen cams for very good reason.
They're about that big.
Very, very tiny. Yeah. You can even mount them inside a helmet. I've seen that done.
You can, and it's really quite fascinating. There has been a lot of development, and I'm not going to go into it now because, A, I don't fully understand it, and B, it's nothing to do with me anymore.
There you go. That picture tells you everything you need to know. It is a tiring business doing a 24-hour race, and it's not just for the drivers. In fact, they usually survive an awful lot better than some of the crew that constantly has to be on and then off all the time. I think as a driver, when you're on, Damien, it's a relaxing place to be. You're kind of in your office, really.
Well, don't you notice it, Damien, if when you're driving, you're with it. When you come in, that's it. You're
Yeah,
just gone.
It's very difficult to find time for yourself, because when you come in, the team want to know, they want an update. The next driver going in wants some information, or the one that's going in next who's already on standby from the guy that you've just handed over to. And then you just want to get fueled up yourself, get some food. And by that stage, an hour and a half's gone, and you might only have another hour and a half or 2 hours. So depending on how many, what race you're doing. Of course, there's only 3 drivers here permitted, but Daytona, which I've done a bunch of times, you can have as many. Well, 5.
A dozen. Yeah. I was watching the sheer misery on Alec McNeish's face as he sits there. All he really wants to do is to go out there in the car, because while he's driving it, he feels happy, and while anybody else is driving it, I think he's thinking, don't you feel like that?
Yeah, well, especially looking into the cockpit of those Audis. I mean, it looks like you're just sitting in a bathtub. It's just it looks so neat and comfortable and everything else. And I just want to mention a change there. Patrick Dempsey has pitted, and Joe Foster is now in the 77 Porsche. They've dropped a place from 3rd to 4th, and Marco Ciacci in the 61 Ferrari, who's teammate to my fellow countryman Matt Griffin, has taken over in 3rd place there.
But that's because he was involved in that incident where Patrick, was clipped. And we don't know who did it, but it certainly wasn't his fault that he spun and found himself sitting there wondering just who was going to hit him next.
Yeah, it was good that he got going.
Yeah.
Thanks for all your kind messages, by the way. And a few of you saying, well, one of you saying, I've just lost it momentarily, I'll join the Up for a Bit all night club. A bit of all night. Well, why not try and make it all the way? I know some of you have got very important things to do. How long do the drivers and support crew get to rest between their next shifts, says Charles Hayward. Really enjoying the coverage, he says, as well. Oh, hello.
A lot of gravel, Indy 2 to Arnage.
There we are. That's just a cautionary note, incidentally. It's not a course caution. Gravel into Arnage was the message that was delivered. There we go.
And that's one of the advantages of running multiple cars, isn't it? Because they will convey that message now to the other 2 cars in the team.
Exactly. Ben Green says, hello from a tent in the back garden in the UK, loving the coverage. I presume, Ben, you're pretending that you're actually camping here at Le Mans. If you've got your headphones in, then that would probably work. Please, could you say hi to my dad, Steve Green? It's not the Steve Green I went to university with, I hope. If so, apologies for being very unwell in his Talbot Lotus all those years ago. It was a big night. We'll take a break. We've got a big night here as well, and we'll be back with you after these short messages. Stay with us.
Puis l'on retrouve la première, le Corvette à 74.
Welcome back. An awful lot of gravel is being dragged out of the vehicles at the moment. I think quite a bit of it is actually pickup, which has been hurled around by their own tyres. We heard the warning going out. I think it was to Alan McNish in the 2 car, warning him about a lot of gravel around. There's been so many beached cars, and at night the marshals can't possibly sweep everything. Apart from anything else, it's rather dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Yeah, I'm afraid that sort of debris doesn't get swept until the race is long over, probably on Monday.
There we are. There we are. That's Lucas Ordonez, was I think the most successful of all of the gamers, if I'm not mistaken. He's already been on the podium here at Le Mans and went on to do great things in the Bronze Pass series, and he is here as one of the guiding lights for Jan Mardenborough, who's also here. Young lad from Wales who's doing a fantastic job, albeit having clattered and got clattered the curbs and got very airborne earlier on. He got away with that.
He did. I tell you, somebody else who's getting away with it now, and that's McNish. He's getting away from everybody. Look, 329s. Alan, I said he was looking very uncomfortable and very miserable, and he couldn't wait to get behind the wheel again. Well, now you can see why. He wants to open up that little bit. He'd just like to get himself a little bit better cushion than he's already got.
Alan's a master of traffic, isn't he? He's got so much experience, and you know, especially at night time now with where you know they're just being a little bit tentative.
Here's your classification. The 2 car leading. The big surprise is it's Toyotas who are nearest to. 1 lap down is the 8 car. Its hybrid sister there is a further lap behind. The 3 car is chasing them down, as you can see in the hands of Ollie Jarvis. And I've got to tell you, the other Audi, which had a very long stop, I think it was 55 minutes, is now running in 12th place and has just posted a 3:25.936. That is an absolute flyer.
That is a flyer.
That's a traffic-free lap, isn't it? Or all but.
And you see Davidson, you couldn't say that it hasn't had some effect on Davidson. He's just at a 3:30. So it really is interesting. This is a fascinating battle. There is this question. I don't think it really is going to be the decider, but there is the fuel question that we know hangs and will go on during the course of this race with the extra litres of fuel that they're allowed to have with the Toyotas. Does this mean that they will have something in hand in the way of time and a pit stop? Well, would it be enough? We don't know. We don't even know whether it's going to be raining tomorrow, or is it going to be raining tomorrow? We don't know. But it's still a lottery, this race.
It is. I mean, obviously, yeah, if the weather stays dry, and the number 2 Audi of McNish at the moment, stays reliable, it's difficult to see them being beaten on pace. But, you know, anything can happen here. And you know, we'll just have to wait and see. But I think the Toyotas their pit stops are something like 10 seconds longer because it takes them longer to refuel. They're obviously putting in 3 litres more, but there's something more than that, I think.
Well, let's face it, the Audi is such an enormously experienced team.
Shall we have a listen on board, everybody?
Listen on board.
Mike's off, gents.
Antonio, you're halfway through this stint, bud. Lap time has actually looked pretty strong. You're been on average a little bit quicker than Westbrook, who is on stickers. I think we can go ahead and try a triple on these. Okay.
They're loud and proud. We like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot of American muscle just there, isn't it?
It is.
In the front of that
To be
Corvette.
honest, when these vehicles come by, the Corvettes, they actually rattle the windows of our commentary position. It is extraordinarily noisy, and that is hyper-muted, may I tell you.
If you think that's noisy, you should have heard that Mazda at its best a few years ago when it won the race.
In the hands of Johnny Herbert. Phenomenal.
Was that with the rotary engine?
That was a rotary engine. That was, without any question, you could pick that noise out above everything.
Do you know something
unbelievable
about Mazda's project? They actually came with a 5-year plan, and they bought a hotel in the centre of Le Mans. That was going to be their base. They won it within the first year, I think it was, wasn't it, with Johnny Herbert?
Yep.
Yeah, out of the box. Plan done, plan executed, sold the hotel.
And made a profit.
I presume so. Who knows? But yeah, quite remarkable. They had so well organised. They kind of beat themselves, basically. Unbelievable.
I think I'm right in saying that they do not make a rotary engine car now. I believe that the RX-8 is no longer in production, and I think that was the last rotary car that was in production.
Well, they weren't racing at Daytona this year.
No.
But last year they were. And by God, are they noisy when they go past you.
They
on the
are.
banking, it's incredible, so high-pitched.
Yes,
screaming.
A phenomenal engine that actually won prizes, but has always been slightly juicy, nonetheless.
Yeah, that was the problem.
Yes, a phenomenal delivery torque, but just a little bit too higher fuel consumption, unfortunately. On board the 3-car Audi now, incidentally, when they come into the pits, it's in silence, which I still find very, very spooky.
It is spooky. I mean, the very first diesel car that I ever drove was a Volkswagen, a Rabbit, as they call them in those days.
That wasn't that what they called you, Nev?
No, they called me a lot of other things, but Rabbit wasn't one of them. But it was a very strange thing. I didn't have anything to do with diesel cars, really, until the late 90s. And I had this feeling. I came here to Le Mans after a little bit of a break, and they all laughed at me when I said that I reckon a diesel would win this race. It did, more or less on time, too. And, of course, now more diesel cars are sold. I think it's about 51% of the new cars sold are diesel in the UK. Which is quite interesting, isn't it?
It's crazy. I mean, the advances they've made is even just, I mean, I remember here a couple of years ago, the Audis used to smoke. I haven't seen them smoke this weekend, have you?
No, they did. You're absolutely right. I'm not quite sure the reason why either. But,
because they've been able to manage to burn all the fuel.
Yes.
Because the smoke is the excess fuel,
it was over
the black smoke.
Exactly.
Yeah, that hadn't been burned properly.
Yeah, we used to worry about it, actually. I think they popped on occasion because there would be so much unburned fuel.
Well, it was a good indicator whether they were trying or not, because the other teams would say, well, there's no black smoke from the Audis yet.
Yeah.
But I haven't even heard that mentioned this weekend.
It's a bit like a papal ordination. Yeah. Thomas Davis says, what are the license types within Le Mans? Are there different licenses required for the prototypes and the GT cars, David?
Different licenses.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think so.
No.
I've had an FIA license, and you've
Type B, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I've had an international A, I think, for the most part of 20 years.
I can't remember the national. I know Richard had one. I don't know whether he still has or not. Probably doesn't. But the thing is that it was said, and this is going back now to the days of Le Mans in the 50s, when I was sort of first showing interest, I suppose, as a boy in motor racing, that to find 60 drivers or 120 drivers who were capable of driving sensibly at Le Mans was a very difficult thing to do. Well, now we're at 3 drivers per car, and to find 3 drivers per car, when roughly 60 drivers makes it easy, 180 drivers. It isn't surprising that there is, in fact, a hell of a difference between people like McNeish, people like Davidson, who were very, very good Formula 1 drivers, Heidfeld, people like that, and people who have not driven at that level.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, they're going to have, well, I'm sure McNeish has a super license, and Davidson also. I've got the one next to a super license, very kindly donated by Motorsport Ireland, I'd add,
Very kind of them, I must say, yes. I think the other thing that we talked about this, in fact, last year, and that is that one of the problems with long-distance racing, Le Mans in particular, is that you've got to show a certain amount of common sense when you're dealing with the traffic. There are quite a few people are a little bit tough. We've seen it. We saw it happen today. Of all people, I think Christensen was somebody who unfortunately clipped somebody without really taking into account that he carved the poor chap up. And we saw earlier on this evening, since I've been here, there was a guy in a Porsche who nearly went off. It was just one of those things.
It's what I would call race intellect, it's basically having the capability to make a calculated decision, and that decision being right at the end of the day. And some drivers, have it in abundance, and some don't. It wouldn't be right for me to name names, but there are drivers who are phenomenal. You've seen it, in many categories, particularly Formula One. You've seen drivers phenomenal over one lap. Like if you think back, and I'm not slagging him at all because he's one of my heroes, Jean Alesi.
Yes,
absolutely. I remember in his glory days with Ferrari, he'd be like half a second up on pole when qualifying was really qualifying back then, and the next corner he would just throw it straight off.
Well, as always was the case with, and has been over the years with Grand Prix drivers, you've got some people used to say, Moss isn't the fastest driver in the world. To which I would say, no, you're quite right. He probably isn't over 1 or 2 laps, but he's faster over 80 laps than you'll ever be.
Well, of course, yeah. And the race intellect thing.
Yeah.
You've got to be clever as the number 2 Audi of McNish comes in. And is this I think he's changing his fluid bottle.
Yeah. It's scheduled, I think.
Wiping the windscreen.
Doesn't time go quickly when you're enjoying yourself? It doesn't seem 2 minutes since he got in the car.
No, maybe he's tired.
Yeah, perhaps has, Probably.
They're topping it up with fuel, and he started up, and then there's a lovely onboard shot, and it's away.
Yeah.
Very, very quick and slick by the Audi team. So just getting back to, you could probably name, I don't want to harp on about Formula One, but if you pick the 3 people who you think are the quickest over 1 lap in Formula One, and then you ask a second question that is, who are the cleverest, I bet you could probably invert the answer to the first question.
Yes, you could. I mean, I think everybody today tends to sort of say that there is a certain Spaniard who blights everybody's life, and I have to say, I think they're right.
I would say he's number 1 on the smart list, on the clever list.
He's bright, and he's quick.
Yeah.
To be absolutely fair to Michael, I've never understood. Many years ago, when Michael came here driving for Mercedes, somebody said, I've got a copy of an interview you did. And I said, well, I wish I could hear it because I can't even remember doing it. But I do know this, that when I watched Michael drive over the 90s and up to the present time, I really thought, and I made up my mind, that he was probably one of the most intelligent drivers who I ever saw, because he could calculate a race while running it all by himself.
Absolutely.
That was his great strength.
He just had that capability.
Yeah.
And that's what the good drivers have. I think, the extra capability to make, definitive decisions. And he's probably made a few bad decisions as well. But anyway, we've just seen the number 35 Oak Racing Morgan Nissan do a pit stop. And he's gone under the Dunlop Bridge and he's on his way.
Still just a lap. That can't be right. Yes, it is. Still just a lap between McNish and Davidson.
They've already surpassed Neville. They've done 170 laps now, so they've already surpassed the total number of laps for 1990.
For 1923. 1923, yeah.
By a long distance.
Yeah.
And there's still 12 hours and 45 minutes to go. And you can see one of the team there from the Oak Morgan Nissan just examining the tires. And even though there may not have been, a problem, the engineers always like to have a look and get their hands on the tires, feel the tires, They do everything but taste the tyres, and they want to see how it's wearing, if it's graining, if it's wearing to one side. They'll put their hands on it and feel probably the temperatures.
The temperature, yeah.
And they'll be doing pressure checks.
And they will
obviously.
go around and measure tyre to tyre. So if they've got one that's getting hot, they want to know why.
And all that information, of course, is logged, isn't it? And
I think the other fascinating thing about the Le Mans 24-hour race is that if you go back into sort of races of years ago, there were the great team managers, people like John Wire, who would have his drivers lined up, 2 drivers per car, and say, you are going to lap in so-and-so. He would tell the other car, right, you're going to lap 5 seconds a lap slower, and so on. It isn't like that anymore. While it isn't every man for himself, there's no question about it. And when you get out there, you are driving it flat as fast as it will go. And as somebody said so rightly earlier on today, anything goes wrong, you've basically lost your positions. You're not going to get it back. If you have a problem with the car, look at number 1 Audi. He's going like blazes at the moment. 325s. He's way down there in 11th place. And with the best will in the world, if he gets into the top half dozen, everybody will say that was a fantastic drive, chum, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know, they'll be thinking what might have been.
Yeah.
Because those guys were going for 3 in a row, weren't they?
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, the stakes are so high that, you know, each of these, even the Audi drivers, although, you know, we're just mentioning now with the number 1 car down in 11th position overall, as we see some excited fans there. They're all wanting to win here. Of course, they're all wanting to, you know, beat each other, and they'll go to great lengths to beat each other, probably further than the team Dr. Ulrich and the rest of the Audi team would wish them to.
Yeah. Sorry about that. You knew I was looking at something. There was a guy there with a large bottle of orangeade, and I thought, if he can do that on orangeade, I wish I'd got some.
Well, I think we have stronger here if you want. Might I offer you some?
Oh dear. So Alan McNeil still leading Davidson in the battle that's going on between the Audi, the 2 Toyotas, 2nd and 3rd. Ollie Jarvis, and that's been it's nice to see him with a car that really, you know, it befits his ability.
Ollie Jarvis,
yeah,
an
really
absolute gentleman, a fantastic racing driver to boot. You know, I was so pleased for him. He was driving for Alex Job. Obviously, he's an Audi works driver, but for Alex Job was running the sort of the satellite works team, if you like, or whatever, for the Daytona 24-hour, and they were our teammates, and we were across the other side of the garage in the Porsche.
Yeah. So
anyway, we were 1-2 with 10 minutes to go, but they eventually won it. We made a mistake with our fuel calculations, or with our strategy a little bit. However, he won the watch, and then of course a few weeks later he wins at Sebring.
Yeah.
So he had a fantastic start to the year, and no better guy. He's a lovely fella.
You mentioned name Alex Brundle, I see, quite well up in that car, and I'm delighted for him. His father must be very pleased that that's come off well. That car's in the top 10.
Well, it doesn't look like he's missing his dad this year, does it?
No.
Yeah, he's doing a stellar job.
I think it sort of was a pretty, how can I put it, upsetting when you find your father still faster than you are. And we're still looking at they're still working on the Corvette. You may, yeah, we've got
a lot of dust.
Clouds of dust and everything else as well. We can't see why it is what it is, but I'm sure we will.
We're just seeing silhouettes.
Yeah, we've got a yellow flag on the corner, and I'm waiting to find out, but we're going to get a safety car dispatched. There's no question about that.
Oh,
that's a very big accident
crash. and a fire also.
Fire as well, and safety car is out.
The engine and gearbox has been ripped off that car. And so hopefully a lot of energy dissipated.
Yes.
The door was open as well. That's a prototype. We're not sure which prototype it is.
No.
At the moment.
So we're in a safety car situation. There will be, as you have seen earlier on, for those of you who've had the misfortune to watch the cars out before, there are usually 3 safety cars go out. And that is what is going to happen.
So we're just waiting to see.
It's the car actually that had a problem earlier on today, isn't it? 25.
It's the 30 car, is it?
We think it's a car that had a problem earlier on today. It's car number 30. Yep.
HVM status car.
Yep.
Well, let's hope that driver is okay. You can see the medical team have arrived, and they've taken every precaution. But that was a huge crash.
Yeah.
And that was
started
just
coming into the corner, didn't it?
Yeah, and it looks like
that's
at the end of the Porsche curves, isn't it? And that's not a wall you want to
no, it's not.
to visit. But there seems to be a lot of energy dissipated, a lot of parts coming off the car, and I think from what we saw in that one replay, the what looked like certainly the gearbox and the back end broke off it, which is probably designed to do. Yeah, absolutely, to dissipate the energy. Yeah, that's the number 30. Yeah,
it's the Lola. And I suspect
well spotted.
That may well be
the
driver. I suspect that the driver is out of the car.
That looks like Tony Burgess, is it? That his helmet?
I think it's Tony Burgess's helmet. I think so. So we've got pace car out. This is, as we said, in the S's there, McNeish still leading the race. We are going to have that pace car out for a while, but it may not be as long as some of the stops that we've had, because there isn't an Armco damage situation, which is going to help a little bit. And meanwhile, if you're thinking, like I'm thinking, it'd be quite nice to have a cup of tea, then just go off, put the kettle on, have the cup of tea, enjoy a little break. We'll be back with you at Le Mans in just a few minutes' time after the break. We're back at Le Mans. I'm Neville Hay, and we're looking at the pace car again, which came out just a few minutes ago. For those of you who have perhaps just joined us, we did see an enormous accident for car number 30, but I'm delighted to tell you that we also saw the driver discussing what had happened with the marshals, and in general terms, then it was quite a nice change, wasn't it, after some of the adventures we've had today?
Yeah, I mean, that's it's certainly a relief, isn't it, to see Anthony Burgess standing by the wall under his own steam, and he took his own helmet off there, and I think he was just discussing with the marshals. He might be asking where he is, but at least he's here, and that was a very, very scary moment. Yeah, the car is completely destroyed. It's lost the engine, it's lost the gearbox, or certainly the whole back end and gearbox anyway.
Yes, everything sort of that was supposed to fall off fell off and took it away. And there is Alan McNish.
A very concerned-looking Alan McNish there.
Very concerned indeed. He's still down as being in the car, incidentally, you know, but I don't think he was in the car. I'm here, in fact.
Yeah, that's yeah, that looks to be wrong, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's got to be wrong.
Will they get into trouble?
Well, I doubt it.
Will there be questions asked?
Yes, if they are, we know who'll get the blame, don't we? Me.
I was thinking, well, it couldn't be me.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. Well, we can blame Carlton. He's just come back. He doesn't actually know we're talking about him at the moment, but say nothing. Right. So
he just left us to our own devices there, didn't he? And ran out.
You may say, yeah, just like that.
10 minutes ago.
You may say, sort of, the driver has come back and will go off to the medical unit for a checkout. But it was quite a relief to see him step away from the car. And now it's a question of picking up the car. As I've said, this isn't, I think, going to be a very long session, purely and simply because once we've actually cleared the bits and pieces of car off the track, it isn't a question of damaged Armco or something like that. So we will probably, with the marshals hard at work here sweeping the debris off the track, be going back to a situation soon with the base cars going in. I'd say probably in about another 10 minutes or so, something like that.
You know what? I've just actually been doing a radio interview a few moments ago concerning Alan Simonson, and then I stepped back in after saying it's an extraordinary good safety record here at Le Mans. I know that a lot of you must be watching this, and maybe some of you are new to motorsport. And when you're seeing ambulances getting scrambled in the middle of the night, you're probably asking yourself, why on earth are these guys doing this sort of thing? It is for the love of the sport. And Alan Simonson passed away for the love of the sport. And it is that passion that has made his family take the decision to ask Aston Martin to continue racing and to try and win it for him. Let's just hope that this incident as well passes by without injury. Let's not forget we haven't had a fatality during the race since 1986, when poor Joe Gartner, the Austrian, crashed on the Mulsanne, ended up in the trees and beyond, unfortunately. Yes, and today we lost Alan Simonson, and let's just hope we don't lose any more, shall we? So, nighttime racing, it's part of the allure of Le Mans, and it looks, I've got to say, I think it looks absolutely magnificent.
And you can see it's a fantastic spectacle, isn't it? But you can just see how hard and how active or proactive those drivers are being under the safety car with their tyre temperatures.
Yes.
Because, of course, our ambient temperature has dropped, our track temperature has dropped, and so will their tyre pressures and temperatures. So they'll want to keep those pretty high. They'll want to use quite a lot of brakes, because you get a lot of heat soak from the brakes that will keep the tyres hot as well, and also we need the brakes hot.
You can see the rear end, the engine, the transmission, everything else as well being carried separately away there.
Yeah,
well,
that's.
I haven't seen the incident myself. Was it actually captured on camera?
Yeah, well, just the aftermath. I don't think the impact. We didn't see the impact anyway. We just saw the aftermath, and there was a bit of a fire as well. But the marshals were just right there to extinguish that. But actually, when we saw the first pictures, we were just seeing a cloud of what we thought was dust probably more smoke and a mixture of dust. Yeah, and we were just seeing silhouettes. But thankfully, everybody is okay there.
And do we know if Burgess is all right?
Well, we've seen him out of the car.
He was out of the car, standing.
We saw him standing by the barrier talking to the marshals.
Tony Burgess, of course, the Canadian from the American Le Mans series. So you must have raced against him.
Yeah, I think so.
There we are.
I have.
So, a car with a podium chance, the HMV Status GP machine. It is the 30 car, isn't it? That's in contact. Yes, it is.
Yep.
Yes, going for a conservative strategy. They said something of a reliability run, perhaps, but it's the 8 car being called to the box on this lap. So running in P2, Anthony Davidson will be coming in. And yes, we are, as you know, behind the safety cars, all 3 of them, in the night time here. Well, this is Johnny Molin's car, expert in the wet, general good guy. They've had a bit of a rough ride, but it didn't get any rougher than that for